Om. 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 Sahana bhavatu. Sahana bhunaktu. Saha viryam karavavai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect where we are studying the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is given the title Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya, which is comes from the word Sankhya, which is enumeration, and it also represents logic. It is in this chapter from the 11th shloka, Sri Krishna starts talking about Jnanam, or he gives a medicine of Jnanam, as Swami says. We have so far looked at, I think, 14 slokas, 11 to the 24th, where Sri Krishna is talking about the reason why Arjuna should not sorrow, because the Atman is permanent, it does not undergo any changes, it does not die, it is not born, and so on. And Krishna, various arguments and logic he's using to get Arjuna overcome the grief he was caught in. So we look at the next verse. Last week I wasn't around, so to answer any questions, if I don't know whether anyone has any questions. If you have any, we can discuss now, or we can do it at the end of the session today. We will start with the 25th verse of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanu sochitum arhasi. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanu sochitum arhasi. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanu sochitum arhasi. We will look at aspects of pronunciation, which is what we normally do. But in this verse, there are no aspirated consonants. All the consonants are alpaprana, or unaspirated consonants. So it should be rather simple for us to learn to recite it. So we will look at the sandhi. There are many sandhis in this. Though they are simple ones, we'll look at them. The first word, the entire line seems to be one word with all the sandhis. So we'll just break them. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate. It is made up of 7 words. Avyaktaha is the first one. Avyaktaha, the visarga joins the ayam. So the visarga becomes u. So ukta plus u becomes ukto. So avyaktaha becomes avyakto. And in the I am, the becomes silent. So it is denoted by this S-shaped letter, which is also called avagraha. So it becomes avyaktoyam. Then ayam and achintya join. The and becomes ma. So it becomes avyaktoyam achintya. Then again the visarga in achintya becomes u. So tyo it becomes achintyoyam. Just like the avyaktoyam, achintyoyam. Again and becomes ma. Ayam avikarya. In the avikarya also visarga becomes su. So it becomes avikaryo. And the ayam becomes silent. So it becomes avikaryoyam. Then and u join to make mu. So it becomes ayam muchyate. So when everything is put together, it becomes avyaktoyam, achintyoyam, avikaryoyam muchyate. Then the next line, the first word is tasmadevam. It's made up of two words, tasmad and evam. So it becomes tasmadevam. The next word viditvainam is made up of two words, viditva and enam. The twa and a becomes twai. A and a always becomes I. So viditvainam, viditva enam becomes viditvainam. The next letter, nana sochitum arhasi, is made up of three words, na, anusochitum, and arhasi. Na plus a becomes na, so nanu sochitum. Plus a becomes ma, so it becomes nanu sochitum marhasi. Those three words, na, anusochitum, arhasi. We will look at the word-to-word meaning. Avyaktaha is the first word. Vyakta means manifesting. Vyakta also means to break. Okay. The Atman is considered a Purnam, a complete one. When it's broken into each one, it becomes Vyaktaha. Avyaktaha means that which is not broken. The unmanifest one is another word. Vyakta also manifesting as an individual being. So you can say unindividualized is another way to look at the word avyakta. So when the Brahman is whole and unmanifest as individuals, it is avyakta. So avyakta ayam. Ayam means this. With the word this here, it denotes the Atman. So the Atman is unmanifest. The Atman in its reality is unmanifest. It's not broken into individual beings. Okay. The next one is achintya. Oh, I see. I think I must have missed that. Second. What? Achintya. So achintya. Chinta means here, chint means to think. Chintya means one that can be thought about or imagined. Achintya means one we can't even think about it. Even our mind is incapable of conceiving or perceiving this Atman. It is beyond the mind. It's beyond the ability to think about. All our thoughts will not be able to describe. So achintya. So this Atman is something which we can't even think about or conceptually understand in our mind. Avikaryaha. Vikara means changing. Vikara means changing. Avikaryaha means that which cannot be changed or that which does not change. So the Atman is again avikarya. It's an unchanging thing. So I am. Uchyate means is said to be. So this Atman is said to be unmanifest, avyakta, non-individualized. which cannot be conceived by the mind, and that which does not undergo any change. They are tasmat, therefore. Evam viditva. Evam means in this manner, knowing that has these characteristics. Viditva means having known. With this to know, viditva means having known. Enam. Enam is also this, just like I am. Enam means this Atman. So knowing that this Atman in this manner. Na anusochitam. Na means not. Anusochitam. Socha itself is to sorrow. Anusochitam means continuously worrying about it. Anusochitam to sorrow. Arhasi, you deserve. So arhasi is a second person singular verb. So arhasi means it is not proper for you to sorrow. So Krishna is giving various reasons to Arjuna, saying that this Atman, which does not change. I think we have already looked at a few verses where Krishna is talking about what the body is. The body is that which goes through various stages of life. Um, but the Atman, the I concept does not change. We may be young babies, young, old, and we may die. But the Atman is always Atman. I mean, we always refer to ourselves as I, even if our body continuously changes throughout our life. Then Krishna also gave the example of it's like changing clothes. He says when the body becomes an old, worn out dress, it is changed. So, but the one who is inside the cloth which is getting worn out does not change. So the Atman is all this which does not undergo the changes which the body undergoes. So it is not proper for you to sorrow. Is what Krishna says. We will look at the summary of this. This Atman is said to be unmanifest one, unimaginable one, and unchanging one. Having known thus, it is not proper for you to sorrow. Okay, because Sankhya is all about teaching what is anatma, what is not Atman, and what is Atman. So here Krishna is talking about certain characteristics of the Atman. I have an excerpt from Swami's discourse, so we will take a look at that. I shall make clear to you Achintya Rupam with an unpicturable form, a form that cannot be delineated or imagined. For he is beyond the reach of the mind, and it is the mind that pictures, delineates, or imagines. So his rupam or form is achintya or incapable of being imagined by the mind. You might hesitate to accept this, but the mind is matter. It is inert. It is fleeting. But Brahman or Paramatma is pure consciousness. It is eternal, everlasting, imperishable. It and the mind are at opposite poles, the fleeting and the fixed. They're totally unrelated. One dies, the other remains. The inert and the active are unrelated. The question may arise in your mind, what then is the sadhaka to do? Oh, he is not deprived of hope. Let him picture the Paramatma as unpicturable. That is enough. Dwell on such thoughts as this, and the fruit will be vouchsafed unto you. So the sadhaka must first learn the channels along which his thought should run. This is an excerpt from chapter 16, where Krishna is talking about how we can worship the Saguna Nirakara Rupa, the Lord without the form, but it has certain attributes. So in that context, Krishna is telling Arjuna that yes, you cannot imagine the Lord, picture him in completeness, So just let the mind dwell on the thought that is unpicturable. So that's what Krishna. Yes, sister.
Brother, still little more to understand, brother, because see, unpicturable, mind inert. So, uh, how you think that? I'm I'm trying to understand what this Swami is trying to tell us. See, Nama Rupa, yeah, mind is for some time. I know Atma is unpicturable. So, how you will think even unpicturable? That also you need a mind to think like that, right?
Okay. It's a very good question, sister. I will give some examples. You know a flower. You know a flower has smell. Can you picture the smell? How do you picture smell? Someone is happy. How do you picture that person's happiness? So there are many things which can you picture air? So there are many things actually we are dealing with and we are living with. But we know the concept. Air, for example, we can't see, but we can feel it. We can experience it. If some food is sweet, how can you picture sweet? So sweetness, we can say, oh, sweet, cake is sweet, or a laddu is sweet. But actually, you have an understanding of sweetness. So that how can sweetness be seen? No, it can only be experienced on the tongue. So actually, we are capable of seeing that. So I think the whole idea is unpicturable means you can't limit sweetness to one sweet. If anyone says sweet, you can't only think of sugar molecules.
Okay,
Even syrup also is sweet.
okay,
So
that makes
yes, you
sense.
have conceived sweet as sugar, but that is not sweet. That is one object which can give you the taste of sweetness. Same way, even the form which we worship is only allowing you to imagine something which is much beyond that form, but through that form you can enjoy it. So the whole problem is if we bring it down to a particular form, then we are missing the point. We should only take each of the form, even God's form, as something through which we can experience divinity. But divinity is not just limited to that form. I think that understanding has to come. So if we do not have that understanding, we will only stick to the small limited form. So the same way Swami is telling, or Krishna is telling to Arjuna, you think the Atman is this body, limited to this. No, understand and experience what is that Atman which is beyond the body. Yes, you may be able to experience that Atman through this body, but your Atma is much beyond it. We can't, can the mind picture mind itself? Do you know how the mind looks? Do you know where the mind is? But we all know that we have a mind. So the Atman also, but we experience I means we have some understanding. Who is that I? If we break down the body, we break down the mind, what is that? Can we picture it? We can never picture it, but we all know that we exist.
So it's a Swami is coming to the point to say that his form is formless and you perceive everywhere me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Experience. Experience. Or you can picture everything as him, which is what
Thanks.
Rudram tries to do. It experiences Rudra in everything. Whatever you see, whatever you feel, that is the whole idea of Rudra. To experience God everywhere in everything. Okay, sir. So, okay, but here he's telling that the Atman is something like that. Understand that, know it, and through that, stop worrying. I think that's Krishna's attempt. We will go to the next verse. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. We will look at spelling or pronunciation aspects. The first word atha, the second letter in that word tha is aspirated. So you have to say atha. Okay, it has to be aspirated. Chainam nityajadam nityam va manyase mritam. There are no aspirated consonants. In the second line, also the second letter in the first word, tatha, that's also aspirated because both of them are the second letters in the third varga or third class of consonants. So the th, okay. The first th is the first letter in the third varga. Tha is the second letter in the third varga or third class. So th, tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam sochitam arhasi. We will look at sandhi related aspects. Atha, chainam. Atha, there are no changes. Stands alone. Cha, enam is the second two words which become chainam. Cha and a becomes chai. A and a always becomes I. So, okay, chainam. Nitya jatam is one word. I have just put a dash just so that you can uh, read it properly and there are no sandhi related changes. Nityam va manyase mritam, there are no sandhi related changes. The second line, tathapi, is made up of two words, tatha and api. So it becomes tha and becomes tha. No change to, tha itself, but sort of it merges with tha. So it becomes tathapi. Tvam stands alone. Mahabaho again is one word, but I have just put a dash to show individual words in that. There are no sandhi related changes. Na evam becomes naivam. Na and a becomes nai. In the first earlier line, you can see cha enam becomes chainam. Here becomes na evam becomes naivam. The last two words are sochitum arhasi. They join to make sochitum marhasi. And a becomes ma. Sochitum marhasi. Yes, we look at the word to word meanings. Atha, various arguments Krishna is giving, so he's giving one more argument. Atha, then, cha, then also, another argument, enam, that is this. Again, this is the Atman. Nitya jatam. Nitya jatam means eternally born. That means it's continuously born. It is not dead at all. Or even if it's dead, it's born again. Okay? Eternally, it is born. Means eternally it's alive. Okay, Nitya Jatam. Nitya is permanent. Jatam is that which is born. Nityam, it's eternal. Also, Va. Va means over also. This is eternally born, it's eternal. Manyase means you are thinking, if you think, if you consider, Manyase Mritam. Mritam means dead. You think this which is always born and it's always eternal, if you think it's going to die, it's going to be dead. Tata api. Tata means even then. Also, even. Then even then. Okay, tata api means even then. Tvam, you, Mahabaho, a mighty armed one. Bahu, Maha means great or big or mighty. Bahu means hand. Bahu means one who has mighty hands. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna here. Oh, mighty armed one. Oh, strong fellow. Na evam. No, not only. No, not in this manner. That's Krishna is, Arjuna is already sad. So he's saying in this manner, not in this manner, we should, na sochitam. You should not sorrow. Arhasi, you deserve. So here what Krishna is telling, okay, in the case you think this eternal one, which is really eternal, if you think it's going to die, even then you should not sorrow. Because you know it's going to die, then why are you sorrowing? This is the argument Krishna is giving. For example, during the day, we know the night is going to come. The day is going to end. Do we cry? We don't. So in this world, if something is going to disappear, something is disappearing, when you know that it's going to disappear, then why should you sorrow? So this is the argument Krishna is telling. If you're permanent also, you should not cry. But if you know it's anyway going to die, anyway it's going to end, why are you crying? It's anyway going to. So that is the nature means then you should not. So that is the argument Krishna is giving. We'll look at the summary of these words. If you take this self to have constant birth and death, even then, O mighty one, armed, you ought not to grieve for the self in this manner. Like, day and night continuously come. We don't cry when it's night. We don't cry when it's born in morning. We know it happens. So when things which are natural, we should not cry. It is foolish. That's Krishna's argument. We will read an excerpt of Swami's. The fully ignorant and the fully wise both will have no grief over the living or the dead. Do you weep because the bodies of Bhishma and Drona will fall? Or is it because the Atma of those who will be destroyed? For the bodies, do you say, well, are tears any good? If they are, certainly people would have kept corpses of their dead and revived them by weeping. No, it can never be. Immerse body in vessels of Amrita, divine nectar, it cannot come. Oh, sorry. Sorry, there are some mistakes. You may have to print if anyone has printed, or please make the correction. It'll never come back to life. Why then weep over the inevitable, the unavoidable? You might say you are weeping for the Atma, the spiritual core that reveals greater foolishness. Death can never even approach the Atma. It is eternal, self-evident, pure. It is evident that you have no Atma Jnana, Atmic knowledge at all. Krishna, this is in chapter 3, Gita Vayana Swami say. So the thing is, if you know it's going to die, then why are you crying? Even if you cry, you think it's going to come back to life? No. As Swami says, even if you immerse it in Amrita, it is not going to connect her, it's not going to come back to life. So then there's no point in crying and wasting your time. So that is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. We'll have another excerpt, we'll read that also. The next virtue is called Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, which means only this: the awareness of the inevitable cycle of birth and death, of senility and disease, of grief and evil, and other signs of, the temporariness of this world, created world, and life in it. Though people see these things happening to them as well as others, they do not investigate the reason for these and the methods of escaping from them. That's the greatest mystery, the wonder. If only you go to the root of the problem, you will realize that whatever else you may escape, you cannot escape death. What man conceives as happiness now is in reality only misery in the guise of happiness. So understand the truth of these things. Reflect upon the of flaws in the reasoning which delude you, and then as a result, detachment is strengthened. And through that, you attain jnana. Therefore, O Arjuna, liberate yourself from janma, birth, mrityu, death, jara, senility, vyadhi, illness, and dukkha, grief. Thus spoke Krishna, exhorting Arjuna with great deal of affection. This is from chapter 23 of Gita Vahini. These are some of the qualities which sadhaka has to cultivate. So they should contemplate on these things: janma, mrityu, jara, that's birth, death, old age, vyadhi, disease, and dukkha. So these are all natural in this world for everyone to experience at different points in time. So when that is something which is normal, why are you worried about it? Once we know that it's normal, we should not be affected by them, is what Krishna is telling Arjuna later on in the Gita also. So that shows that even if you think the body is impermanent and Atma is also impermanent, even then it is not useful for you to cry. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Okay, we will look at the next verse. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्योऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्योऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्यो तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. I think I read it wrong, so I will read it once more. जातस्य हि ध्रुवोर्मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. We look at spelling, pronunciation related aspects. Jatasya dhruvo. This dhruvo, the dha is the fourth letter in the th class of consonants. It has to be aspirated. Dhruvo. Okay. Mrityur dhruvam. Again, dhru. Again, the same dha. It has to be aspirated. Janma mritasya cha. Tasmad apariharyerthe natvam sochitum arhasi. There are no aspirated consonants. We will look at the sandhi related changes. Jatasya hi dhruvaha. In this dhruvaha, the visarga becomes u and it becomes dhruvo because of sandhi. Mrityuhu dhruvam becomes mrityur dhruvam because the visarga becomes ir. Okay, so that's how you get mrityur dhruvam. The ir is with a hook, like hook shaped one. Mrityur dhruvam. Janma mritasya cha, there are no sandhi related changes. Tasmad apariharye arthe becomes tasmad apariharyerthe. In this tasmad and apariharye, the ut and the becomes the. So it becomes tasmad apariharye. In harye and arthe, the becomes just silent. So it becomes apariharyerthe. Okay, so the is becoming silent through this avagraha shape. Natvam, no change. Sochitum arhasi becomes and join a ma. So it becomes sochitum marhasi. Okay, so we look at the word to word meaning. Jatasya. Jata means to be born, we looked at. Jatasya means of the person. Generally, that's the right translation, but for the sake of English, four is easier, four is more appropriate for us to understand. So I put four. Yatasya means of the one who is born. So for the one who is born, let's say, he is indeed dhruvaha, certain, mrityuhu, death. So what Krishna is saying, death of the one who is born is certain. Or death for the one who is born is certain. So that means anyone who is born is going to die. That is certain. And no one can doubt that. Okay. Mrityu is death. Dhruvaha means certain. Something which does not change. I don't know. That's why it's called Dhruva Nakshatra. Means, the North Pole star is supposed to not change. It is always certain. It's a fact which will not change. Okay, from that sense. Dhruvam, again, is saying certain. Janma, which is birth. Mritasya, for the one who is dead. Cha, also. So Krishna is saying, for the one who is born, death is certain. The one who is dead, birth is certain. He will definitely be born. Okay, this cannot be changed. Tasmat, therefore, apariharye. Parihara means to avoid something. I don't know, many people do, if there are some problems, if they suffer, if they're afflicted by something, we look for parihara. That means the process by which you can remove or change or avoid. So aparihara means that which cannot be apariharya. Apariharya means that which cannot be changed, that which cannot be avoided. Apariharye means it's a seventh vibhakti or the seventh noun form. That means in that unavoidability. Okay, so that's a proper translation of the vibhakti or the noun form, but in English it makes sense regarding what is unavoidable. Arthe means with something, an object. So actually apariharye arthe is one is a noun of the other. So something which is unavoidable, a situation which is unavoidable. Na tvam sochitam arhasi. Tvam na sochitam arhasi. It's not proper for you to grieve. So he's saying something which is unavoidable, why are you sorrowing about it? You should have known that is certain. That someone who is born will die, someone who is dead will be born. When it is certain that this will happen, there's no point in you crying or being sad. So that's another angle in which Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna not to be sad that somebody is going to die. We will look at the summary. Death is certain for one who is born, and birth is certain for one who is dead. Therefore, it is not proper for you to grieve. When we know something is going to happen, thinking about it and worrying about it does not help anything. So it is futile, it's wasted effort. So that is Krishna's advice to Arjuna. But he was worried that people are going to die. Bhishma is going to die, Drona is going to die. So he's saying, why are you worried about them? That they are going to die one day. So that's the argument Krishna gives Arjuna. We'll look at an excerpt from Swami's discourses. Death is certain for any being that is born on earth. It can occur either in the town, in the forest, or in water. No one knows when and where death occurs. The limit of life is said to be 100 years, but one cannot rely on it. No one knows whether death occurs in youth or old age. It is said in the Puranas that one Yamadharma Raja is there who uses pasham, binding rope, to take away the lives of people. If he uses one rope per person, then how big his rope factory must be? No, it is not Yamadharma Raja that pulls our lives. He is also known as Kaludu. We are tightening the noose ourselves through our own actions. Our attitude and conduct are important aspects. We must display sacred qualities so as to keep up the honor and fame acquired by the sages and noble people of yore. Girls must bring fame to their parental as well as in-laws' families. So this is a discourse where Swami is talking about other things. Swami is using the word kala. Kaludu means kala, which is time. Time itself is death. Because every day, every moment is taking away our life. Continue with the excerpt. This is most important ideal for girl students. All the learning and degrees earned become useless when this ideal is lacking in girls. This world is known as Jagat. Ja means to be born, Gat means that which changes. Therefore, that which comes and goes is Jagat. Nothing is permanent here. Births are the results of our deeds caused by desires. Therefore, you must endeavor to do all work without aspiring for benefits or other selfish ends. Selfless work results in the destruction of desires. All other actions will bring forth rebirth and the inevitable death. The eternal, truthful, and pure principle of immortality can be achieved only through spiritual education. You must endeavor to learn this type of education, and subsequently, you should be able to teach these ideals to youngsters. So this is discourse Swami gave on the 19th of 1987. I think Swami had gone to Anantapur and he was talking to the students there from Bhatai. I can't remember. So, but he's talking about the need for knowledge, proper knowledge. And Swami is advising not to accumulate karma, but do what is right. Because there are certain things which are unavoidable. They come and go. That's why the word Jagat is used even to denote world. So we should always know that in this world everything comes and goes. Jagat. But we use the word, but we do not pay attention to the meaning. That's what Swami is telling here. We look at the next verse, 28th verse. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. We will look at pronunciation related aspects. Avyaktadini bhutani. In this, bhu is fourth letter in the per class of consonant, so it has to be aspirated. Vyakta madhyani. In Vyakta madhya, that udhya, in that dha is aspirated because it's a fourth letter in the third class of consonants. Bharata, in that word Bharata, bha is also aspirated consonant, is the fourth letter in the per varga or per class of consonants. So it should be Bharata. We have looked at it in the past as well. Then the next line, avyakta nidhanan yeva. The word nidha, this dha is also aspirated. Avyakta nidhanan yeva. Dha is the fourth letter in the, just like madhyani, dha, same. Fourth letter in the third class of consonant, it has to be aspirated. Tatraka paridevana, there are no aspirated consonants. Let's look at sandhi related changes. Avyaktadini, bhutani, no change. Vaktamuktani, bharata, no change. In the next line, second line, avyakta nidhanan yeva is made up of two words. Avyakta nidhanani eva, in that ni plus a becomes in ya. Okay. E plus a always become ya. So ni plus a becomes nia. Okay, nia. Nia. E plus a always becomes ya. E plus a will become ye. Okay. So ni plus eva becomes nie. Neva. Tatraka paridevana. There are no sandhi related changes. We will look at word to word meaning. Avyakta adini. Okay. We already looked at avyakta, that which is unmanifest, that which is not individualized. Okay. Let's take the word unmanifest here. Avyaktadini means with those things which are avyaktam, because it's a plural of a neutral gender word called avyaktam. Avyaktadini. Okay. So they are those things which are unmanifest. Okay. Bhutani, beings. Okay. It's an adjective of bhutani. Vyakta madhyani. Oh, sorry. I should have. Avyakta adi. Adi means at the beginning. Okay. At the beginning, avyaktadi means at the beginning that which is unmanifest. Okay. So in the beginning, something is unmanifest. Vyakta madhyani. Vyakta is, it is manifest. From avyakta, it becomes vyakta. When madhya, that means in the middle. In the middle, it becomes manifest. So those things which are in the beginning, they are unmanifest. In the middle, they are manifest. Bharata. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Bharata, or descendant of Bharata, or son of Bharata, whichever we want to take it. Avyakta nidhanani. Nidhana is the end. When everything comes to an end, that's a nidhana. Avyakta means again it becomes unmanifest. So in the beginning it is avyakta, unmanifest. In the middle it's vyakta. At the end it becomes unmanifest. So which all of us were not there before. Suddenly we are born. Then at the end we becomes unseen again after death. Okay. Those which are unmanifest at the end. Eva, indeed. Tatra, there, or in this situation. Ka paridevana. So it's a question. Why this sorrow? What grief? So he's telling some things which are born, which are not there, then they are there, then they are not there. When that is so, why worry about it? Because it's natural and that's the way of things. So that's what Krishna is telling. I will look at the summary. All beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in the middle, and again unmanifest in the end. What indeed is there to grieve about, O Bharata? So that is very natural, normal. So you should not worry about it. That's what Krishna is saying. I have an excerpt, a very long excerpt. I hope you will bear with me. It is one chapter in a Vahini written by Swami called Vidya Vahini. Okay. The Kumar has raised his hand.
Hi, Ram, brother. Can you just expand on this, what you're showing on the screen? You're saying, I mean, the concept of all being unmanifest in the beginning, then manifested in the middle, and unmanifested again in the end. What that means by unmanifested in the end?
So things disappear. We are not born means Kumar didn't exist before Kumar was born. Now Kumar is there. Then one day Kumar will not be. So if someone asks where is Kumar after someone is not
Oh,
there,
got it. Yeah.
you don't know where it is. That is the nature of everything in this world. It comes into being and then it goes away. Another in Vedanta they will say there was clay, then a pot was made. So then we can see an image, and then it is again broken and becomes nothing. And the pot is not there, but the clay is there. So everything in this world has a beginning and an end. When that is so, why to worry about it? It is a natural thing. A day was not there, a day begins, and then day disappears at night. The sun is born in the morning and sun is dead, gone. We don't cry about these things which we think are natural. I think that's what Krishna is telling. I hope that answers your question.
No, thank you. Thank you, brother. I hope I use this for my wife mostly. Any
In life, we have to use it everywhere. So this is from Vahini. Swami has written called Vidya Vahini. So I've accepted one whole chapter because there are different areas where Swami has discussed some of these things. It's about Atma Vidya, knowing what is Atman and the importance of it. So I thought it's nice to read. You all can take your time and study it and read it and contemplate. But I will just read it. I think it's nice to just listen to Swami's words, which he had taken pains to write for us. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Hi Ram, brother, before we are reading, so in this three slokas, Krishna is trying to say not to worry.
Yes.
Permanent, impermanent, cycle, all three things, not to worry.
Yes.
And not to worry, to realize it.
Yes.
That's it. So
That's
Sankhya Yoga is teaches not to worry.
yes. Because once you have knowledge, you will not worry. When you don't have knowledge, you worry. Like for example, a parent goes to office in the morning. The child will cry as if it's not going to ever see the father again or mother again. Why? It does not have the knowledge that the person will come back in the evening. So when generally we are sad when we don't know about something. But once we know, this is part of life. Every day somebody will go to work and somebody will come back in the evening. So that is life. So when that is so, once you have that knowledge, you will not worry about it. So that's what Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna. When there are natural things we should not worry about. Once you have knowledge, you will not worry about it. So I think that's what it is.
Thank
Now
you.
we will read this and then it will become clear. So he does not want anyone to grieve about anything in this world. Even in Tamil, this song, ஆண்டாண்டு புரண்டு அழுதாலும் மாண்டார் வருவாரோ in மாநிலத்தில். So even for years, if you cry and roll on the ground and cry about someone who's gone, will that person return? Of course, we can say we are taking out our sorrow by crying and rolling on the ground. But it is of not much use. You will not again bring that person back. It may be something which, your sorrow inside can be going, it can leave if you cry. After some time, we get tired. So, what Krishna is saying, don't sorrow about it. Know that it is a fact of life. I think that's the whole idea. So, when it is there, just be happy. When it's not there, be content that you had it. I think that should be our attitude for everything in life. For example, we start working, then the work is gone, then we should be happy. When you retire, that work is not there. It should be, it's part of life. Or we'll read Swami's discourse or writing. World problems are now assuming stranger forms and larger proportions. They are no longer individual or local, they are global, affecting all mankind. On one side, science and technology are advancing with cosmic developments. Through plastics, electronics, and computer technologies, the wonder has reached even greater heights. On the other side, mankind is afflicted with a recurring political and economic crisis. National, provincial, religious, racial, and caste rivalries, narrow loyalties, and outbursts of disturbance in student campuses. These have spread indiscipline and licentiousness all over the world. This is an unbalanced and mutually contradictory situation. What really is the cause of this? Does it lie in the frightening decline that religion and morals have sustained in the human mind? So, when I read this, I thought this seems like a description of what happens today. There are so many wars, so much conflict, so many confusions all over the world, suffering. But we have the best of technological growth, even AI and artificial intelligence. Nothing seems to have helped human beings escape from this sorrow and trouble. So we'll continue. Mankind has within its reach many means and methods through which it can earn wisdom and peace. It can secure invaluable guidance from the Vedas and the Shastras, the Brahma Sutra, the Bible, the Quran, the Zendavesta, and the Granth Sahib, and other holy texts whose number exceeds 1,000. There is no dearth in this land, Bharat, of heads of monasteries and religious orders, exponents of spiritual doctrines and disciplines, scholars and venerable elders. They too are propagating and publishing on a massive scale. Nevertheless, man's mind is degenerating in the ethical, spiritual, and religious fields of life, continuously and with great speed. What is the reason for this downfall? Men have now become more vicious than ever. They utilize much more than in past ages their intelligence and skill to indulge in cruelty. Men relish and revel in inflicting pain on others so much that, as history reveals, 15,000 wars have been waged during the past 5,500 years. There are no signs yet that this horrid pastime will terminate. The impending atomic war threatens to destroy the entire human race. What exactly is the cause of all this anxiety and fear? It is clear that the beast in man is still predominant. It has not yet been overcome. Only when this is achieved can we, our country, and the world attain peace and joy. Hatred, envy, greed, desire for pompous display, and for comparison and competition with others. These evil traits have to be uprooted. These traits are vitiating not only the generality of men, but even ascetics, monks, heads of religious institutions, and pandits. Among these, envy and greed have grown wild. When these masters and preceptors who project themselves as embodiments of ideals exhibit such low qualities, how can they set right the world? They can only intensify the pollution. What the world needs today is neither a new order, a new education, a new system, a new society, nor a new religion. The remedy lies in a mind, in a heart filled with holiness. Holiness must take root and grow in the minds and hearts of youth everywhere, of boys and girls, and of children. The good and godly must endeavor to promote this task as the one great sadhana which they have to undertake. Success in this task can be achieved only through Brahma Vidya. But man today has deep faith only in acquisition and accumulation. He cannot give up or renounce. He has no faith in truth. He is attracted by falsehood. He finds truth to be an obstacle. Therefore, he is unable to realize that death is the happy consummation of a glorious life. He dies in anxiety and misery. People are pronouncing ceaselessly, parrot like, the words truth, nonviolence, righteousness, and love. They proclaim that there is no religion higher than truth. But the wonder is, the one thing man has no desire to possess is truth. Man yearns to know all things, but he does not yearn to know the truth. Above all, he does not evince the least desire to know the truth of his own self. He does not turn his attention in that direction. Even if he does, it is only to justify his fears and prejudices. Therefore, the primary task of man is to discard his weakness and tendency to hurt. That which is not found at the beginning or at the end, but is manifest only in the interval, in the middle period, cannot be really real. It is mithya, not satya. The cosmos did not exist before it emerged, nor can it exist after it is submerged, that is to say, after pralayam, involution, the great dissolution. What is evident in between can only be apparent truth, temporarily and limited truth. It cannot be the unchanging truth. Man has to explore along these lines the value and validity of every object in this universe. The body, for example, was not there before birth, and it is not here after death. Like a pot made of clay, it exists as pot with that form and name for some time and later assumes its clay nature. The pot is but clay, with a form and a name added to it by artificial means. Whatever the objects, everything in this universe is inexorably subject to the impact of time, and it has to face death and destruction. The tree and the soil, the house and the body, the king and the kingdom, each has to suffer the same consummation. Man ignores the means of becoming aware of the immortal in him. He is enamored of the knowledge that is concerned with the phenomenal world. Those who yield to this facile temptation are like the ones who desert the garden of heaven and rush into the jungle of poisonous vegetation. They turn away from the original, the bimba, the atma. They are fascinated by the image, the pratibimba, the visible, the observable phenomena, the drishya. By this attitude, they are only proclaiming themselves as ignoramuses, not as knowers or seekers of truth. Man should know that not even an iota of genuine happiness is derivable from the three worlds, the three divisions of time, and the three levels of consciousness in daily life: wakefulness, dream, and sleep. Only the foolish among men seek to satisfy themselves from the limited, counterfeit happiness through worldly activities. The wise know better. Those who bypass the luscious branches of sweet grapes and run towards bushes of thorns are camels. They cannot be classified under other species. Mountain peaks are charming from a distance. When approached, they confront us with terror-striking jungles. So too, the world, samsara, appears charming when men have not delved into its meaning and value. When discrimination is employed to explore its value, the truth is revealed that the family jungle or the world jungle cannot give genuine happiness. Only the Atma can give that blessing. Can the lake which strikes us as invitingly charming so long as the mirage is on quench one's thirst? If one deludes himself with the belief that it can and runs toward that non-existent sheet of water, he can only get thirstier. No other benefit can accrue to him. Therefore, one should learn Atma Vidya and the process by which one becomes aware of one's Atmic reality. By learning it and living it, one can quench his own thirst and help to quench the thirst of all mankind. So, Swami is nicely speaking about this concept of it was not there, now it is there, and then it's gone. In this world, everything is that, this Jagat. Everything in this world is temporary. So, we should take notice of that and go after that which is permanent and eternal, is the teaching. So, the entire Vidya Vahini is actually about Atma Vidya, knowledge of the self. So from that Vahini of Swamis, I've accepted this. So that's all I had today prepared. I will stop here if there are questions and if I can answer. Yes, Sairam.
Sairam, I don't know.
Sairam.
Can't we say that certain things are meant to happen?
Yes, Auntie. That's what
That is why they are happening.
Yes. And when it happened, we should not be surprised. I think that's even Dharmaraja. Yudhishthira was asked one question: what is the most puzzling thing in this world? In one of the, I think we have covered it as part of the Yaksha Prashna we did. He says people see others die, but they think they are going to live forever. And he says there's nothing more funny or inexplicable than that. It is meant to happen, but people forget that. We cry for the people who are dead. There's another story somebody told. There is this saint called Pattanathar. He's supposed to have, he was passing by a house and people were crying for someone who is dead. And he enters that house and he also starts crying. So the others cried and he cried and they saw him crying and they cried. And after some time, they got tired of crying. But apparently, Pattanathar, he was a great saint, he was still continuing to cry. Then they thought something, this person, I thought is a great sannyasi sadhu, why is he crying? We stopped crying because for the person who they liked, they cried and they got tired of crying and they stopped. But this saint was crying. So they said they're trying to console him. Please don't cry, please don't cry. It's finished. Then he said, no, 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 I am not crying about the person who is dead. I am crying about all of you who are going to die. So he sort of showed them the futility of crying about somebody dead when we ourselves are going to die. So that's I thought.
Like that.
Yes, people who are dead are carried by people who are dead.
That.
Maybe in the future. Yes, that's fine. Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
I have a question from last week chapter, so I may let
Sure.
Aruna go. Maybe then I can go at the
Okay,
end.
sister, okay. Yes, Sister Aruna. Sister, you had to manifest with.
Yes, brother. Avyakta to. Okay, brother. I just want to make an announcement about the next week. Ekadasa Rudra.
Oh, then you have to wait. You wait.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, after everyone, I'll make the announcement. Brother.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Auntie Saku, you have a question.
Hi, Ram. If it is meant to be, when God has shown us different way you can overcome, right? You can overcome your fate by you concentrate on your Atmic, the Atmic importance. Give more importance to Atma and try to relieve your Atma from death and birth. We cannot just because we are born and we have got through all this knowledge, we cannot say that it is meant to be and we have to accept it. We could try to overcome and for certain extent, to do the right thing for the Atma, not for the body, and not for the worldly stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Thank you. Yes, Sister Brinda.
Sairam, brother. Sorry. So, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm driving.
Yes.
Okay.
Sister.
Okay. So, what is the difference between the natural death and the death happens during war? So that is all. They know they are at some point they're going to die. But how about the suicidal deaths and the accidental deaths? What happens to the Atma?
See, the thing is, how a person dies, generally we have natural death and unnatural death. Generally, at old age, when somebody dies, that's considered natural through disease or something like that. In between, when something happens, we are not sure whether the person is going to suffer or not. I think that's the question. In between a young age or suicide, as you mentioned, somebody takes their own life. What happens is the question you asked. The belief in Sanatana Dharma is the death takes place according to karma. But the state of mind at the time of death will decide the mental struggles an individual Jivatma will go through. So in between, so it ultimately everything depends on the state of mind at the time of death. So it is like any journey, we go to an airport or a train station. Lots of people come and get into the plane or airport or train and go. Different people are in a different state of mind. Some people, there's no one who has accompanied them. They will just go in and get into the train and then they're going. Their emotional state is reasonably stable. Then there are people who come and they wave at their friends and relatives and then they go. They will turn back a few times and go. Then you will find people who start crying when they're going and they will cry all the way through security, and even while waiting to board the plane, they will be crying. This is a situation of anyone in this world. The state of mind at the time of death will determine the type of trouble and pain that person will go through until for a foreseeable future of time. So that is the reason in Sanatana Dharma, the first few days, at least 10 days or 30 days, are considered very critical for the person who has departed. And there's also this practice, someone who has been a vegetarian and very, generally there is a vegetarian, or someone who has been spiritual. 10 days is good enough. One who has not been that spiritual, they will say 30 days, only until 30 days it will drag on. And then there's also the belief that for 1 year, they could be in a transition space. So there are prayers and rituals done for throughout the year, every month. It's called Masyam. So there are 3 stages of time frame given to people who suffer, who could suffer potentially. So I think that's what it is. Ultimately, it all depends on the state of mind we are at the time of death. That will determine not the age at which we die. There can be someone who is suffering, and at old age, they also don't want to die. And if they die, they will also suffer. Just as a person who may take their life thinking that that will solve their mental problem, their mental problem will still persist and pursue them even after their death. That's the belief. And then, there's belief that they can be in the form of spirits and things like that. These are certain things which are described in the Puranas. But ultimately, we should all work on our state of mind at the time of death. Prepare for it throughout our life is my end. I hope I answered or didn't answer your question.
Yes, brother, you did. Thank you so much, Sairam.
Now, Sister Vani, I think I will go to you.
Sairam, brother. So, my question is somewhat little related to Sister Brinda's question. So, last week's session says, when we are born, we wear a new dress and come. And then there was a reference to, when people die when they are young or infants or children, even though their dress is new, their dress is made of old stock of clothes, old stock of old stock. So what does it mean by old stock? Is it because they have so many births and they have accumulated karma, or are they mature souls? Like, what does old stock refer here?
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So there are two kinds of interpretation by people. There are people who say a mature soul dies young or something like that. This is general, some interpretation. They think they're spiritually mature, so they don't live long. See, sometimes we give some argument so that we feel the person who is departed is good, or they have progressed spiritually and things like that. But it's ultimately whatever is meant to. My understanding of old is, sister, there is, for example, in one's life, one was meant to do something. It's go through a certain experience in their life. If that was cut short, that person has to complete that lesson. So they will come back for a short period to complete that. This answers, I think, Sister Brinta's question also. For example, I am in a particular grade, say grade 5 or grade 6. In one subject, I failed. Okay, so I have to repeat that. So we may have to go back to the same class only to study that subject. And once you master and you pass that exam, you may leave. So many things in universities, things like that happen. So that means that person is an old student. The person stood, he was in the class, but one lesson was not fully learned or fully experienced. For that, to repeat that subject, that person will be there for a short while until they have an opportunity to pass that exam and move on. So that's my understanding. That's how in this world there are people who come for a short while, for a shorter experience, to complete a particular lesson and learning process is my understanding. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, brother. That's well said.
Sairam, sister, thank you. Sairam, everyone, with no questions or comments, we will close the session today, and the following week will continue. Sairam. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.